Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. Government managers say the accounting system being used for agencies across the state is badly out of date and needs to be replaced. They're attempting to design and implement a more modern accounting system, but told a legislative committee this week they need $27 million, about a fourth of the cost right now, or else the project could be in jeopardy. I want to ask John Hood and Chris Fitzsimon, our experience in revamping IT programs hasn't been stellar. Do you have confidence our state can get this done? What happens if we don't? John?
Well, I'm conflicted on this matter because on the one hand, I'm absolutely convinced that our accounting system is significantly broken and that that's a real problem. I mean, this is slightly a different system, but I was really unnerved by State Treasurer Dale Falwell's discovery, and he got a lot of attention this past week, that there was one person in particular whose mother had passed away, and he got 15 years of pension payments before anybody figured it out. He basically stole $250,000. Now, I don't want to implement a $25 million accounting system to save $250,000 here and $250,000 there unless there's a whole lot of them, and there might be. And more generally, there are procurement matters where an accounting system will help us determine whether we're spending taxpayer money wisely, and in the long run, even a $100 million system might pay for itself. On the other hand, that sounds like a tremendous amount of money. And it's unnerving that it would cost that much to implement a new system.
But Chris, one of the things that's a problem with the reason they're doing this is because it uses a language called COBOL, which I think the
on the periodic table of elements.
I was going to say the dinosaurs used this, I think, back when they first invented. What's your take on this?
We've underinvested, both political parties, in technology. We've talked a lot about it in the court system where it was a crisis. We've made some improvements. I still think we have a long way to go. And I think this is another area where it's not exciting. A lot of people don't run home as a legislator and say, here's one of my accomplishments. I spent $100 million on our technology system to have better accounting. I mean, we need to do it. And I think we have to have confidence in the people who are doing it. That's what we elected a governor. That's why we have an administration. That's why we have professional state employees. And Google and Amazon and all these other places wouldn't allow a system to get obsolete. And even if it was a big cost to track their expenses and their finances, they would certainly do it, A. B, it also raises a question that we've talked about on this show before about paying people, professionals in state government, market rates. It is hard. This is an area where there's a lot of competition. We need the best people to run these departments. I'm not saying we don't have them, but as we go forward, this is a place where we need to make sure we have the folks and pay them wages that we can keep attracting.
But here's the issue. I mean, many of us still remember the Medicaid fiasco we had in North Carolina when we went over budget on redesigning Medicaid systems, IT systems. What was it, $100 million we went over or something like this? What can we do? You've implemented changes in computerization in IT. What do you do to make sure we don't keep having these kinds of issues?
I just want to remind you that after we did that, we have had better management of the Medicaid system.
No question.
And our money has come in, our budget, we've come in under budget in Medicaid for many years in a row. So this is an argument where spending money at the front end in the long run will pay off. I think that's true, but I think at the same time, we have a system that is broken. We have a system that we know we want to implement, but that we're relying on people, as Chris says, some of whom are used to the old system to implement the new system. We may need more wholesale
Well, the people
changes.
that knew this old system are retiring and leaving us. Now, so far as the other is concerned, part of the reason why we've saved so much money in Medicaid is because of the fact that our legislature had initially tried to change the Medicaid program without going through the federal government to get their approval. Chris, what do we do to make sure we don't have these kinds of problems?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, we have to, I think in some ways we have to have faith in the folks who are running them. We have to make sure we have the right people doing it. I think there's obviously room for the legislature to understand what they're spending this money on. It speaks to the need for an open budget process. But again, this is also part of this money, I assume, would be one-time money. We just talked about on the show. This is a great example of a place where you spend revenue surpluses and you don't put everything in the bank. There's a need for investment in infrastructure, both real infrastructure, roads, highways, but also computers.
And keep in mind that the budget that our management system covers is not just the general fund. So we have a $50 billion plus budget every year that we have to manage, and we need the systems to do that.
I have this philosophy of putting all your eggs in one basket and then watching that basket real close. Well, thank you for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.